Hello everybody, it's Michael from Replica Airguns with yet another tabletop video review. Today we are looking at the KWC model TT-33 CO2 single action only non-blowback BB pistol. That was a mouthful. Now this gun is available in our Canada and our US Replica Airgun stores over at replicaairguns.ca and replicaairguns.us. I will put links in the description of this video for you guys so you can buy this gun in Canada and the US. Now I will be doing a follow-up field test shooting video shortly for this gun, but in this video we won't talk a lot about the performance because I just don't have that information for you yet. Now this is a replica of the Russian TT-33. It is a non-blowback gun and it's an almost all metal design. As far as I can tell, it has metal slide, frame, and magazine. Probably some internal metal parts as well. This does have a smooth bore steel barrel and uses 12 gram CO2 cartridges. It shoots 4.5mm steel BBs and has a 19-round full-size dropout metal magazine. This gun weighs in at almost 1.6 pounds or 700 grams. And again, this is a single action only gun, so you're gonna have to pull that hammer back before you can shoot it like a single action only revolver. You're also gonna find fixed sights front and back, and it has a claimed FPS of 423, not too bad. The overall length of this gun is 7.64 inches in length. This gun is made by KWC in their Taiwan factory. As you can see, it comes in this nice box here, okay, with some specifications on it. Right, non-blowback 700 gram, length there, the joules even. So if you could convert the speed or velocity with the weight of the pellets or BB, sorry, you're going to get 2.5 joules roughly. Metal slide, 19-shot magazine. Okay, basically same thing on the back. Okay, let's put this aside here. And let's look at what comes in the box. So you do get some steel BBs, right there, 4.5mm. Now these are 0.35 gram. You get the Allen key, typically, otherwise it's going to be a little difficult to put that CO2 in. And of course you get a manual from KWC, right? So you have some information on how to load it, right? Put the CO2 in, how to shoot it, how to use the safety, information like that. Some things not to do. You got a parts diagram there as well. Okay, with more parts information there. All right, let's throw that aside. All right, I do want to compare this to another Tokarev product. Here we have the Gletscher Tokarev. This is the TT by Gletscher, and I'm pretty sure it's KWC as well. So KWC makes them both, but it is rather different. This is a blowback gun. Okay, so it does have the locking slide, and you've got basically single action only. So you do have to actually have the blowback operation or pull that hammer back for the first shot, and then it's going to cycle and do that for you. It does have a sort of longish looking trigger, but it is single action only. It is fairly light. This one does have a metal magazine, but it's just a stick mag. At least it's metal, and there's quite a bit of metal in this gun too. It doesn't weigh tremendous amount, but it's not light by any means. These are small guns. They're 1911-ish, but they're smaller than a 1911. Thinner and just smaller in total dimensions and everything. So you can see they're very similar. One thing I did notice is there's no slide cutout on here. Kind of weird, right? And then this one does have pins in it as opposed to these screws, which I'm not a big fan of, that put the two sides of the slide together. The frame doesn't have the screws, but the slide does. Okay, now that I've kind of shown you the two different versions, let's look at this guy. Again, remember the slide doesn't slide. It's a slide that doesn't slide, so it's non-working any which way or form. You are going to have to cock this hammer for every shot because it's a single action only hammer and trigger. So this trigger is going to do nothing for you. You have to pull it back to shoot each time. That's just the way it's going to be. So you will get some nice accurate shots because the trigger feels pretty good. It's fairly light and fairly short. What you'd expect with a single action only trigger. That's going to help with accuracy, but it's not an action shooter unless you can do that real quick. If you get good at that, then you can shoot fast, right? I don't know if you can fan it. Not really. But yeah, it's a single action only gun. I really can't say too much more about it. The trigger's pretty good. You do have the safety that's actually worked into the slide catch release instead of putting some other one in a weird location. They just stuck it there. I think that's a good idea. Okay, and then you've got your markings on it, right? Got that. Recessed barrel. This side again, no cutout, right? No, why? I don't understand. They could have put a cutout in there. You do have these screws again that I mentioned. You do have some information on the frame. Okay, let's take a look at the magazine. So one nice thing is it's a full-size dropout metal magazine. We love those, right? Everybody does. And you can just load her up there, super easy. You got your CO2 Allen key, tighten it up, and you're ready to go. So that's a nice thing. Now, one thing I did notice when I was doing the preview is you can't force this in. You have to literally push the magazine release. So it's a magazine release and acceptor, I guess, right? Because you don't try and force it. Push that in and then it goes in, okay? You don't want to break the gun before you get it going. All right, that's pretty much it for the walk around. It overall looks like a nice gun. It looks like the real deal with the exception of the ejection port missing. I really wish they had done that. Other than that, it's pretty accurate in terms of realism. All right, so let's talk pros and cons. It is one of a handful, or I shouldn't even say handful, of only a few 4.5mm BB shooting Tokarevs out there. There really aren't that many of them, so your choices are limited. If you want a single action feeling trigger, then this is going to be your best bet. Now the KWC model TT-33 does have a fairly decent weight to it since it's mostly metal, so that's a pro for sure. And it does have that full-size dropout metal magazine that holds the CO2 and BB. So there's some things going for it, obviously, that we all like. It does have that recessed barrel as well for realism, yet it's missing the kind of ejection part, but we'll get into that with the con. Now there isn't any blowback operation, but as a pro, it will increase your FPS and CO2 efficiency. And that single action only trigger, although it means you're not going to be able to shoot as quickly, it will help with accuracy. And I like that KWC did a good job of making that safety discreet by working it into the slide catch release. All right, here we go with the cons. No action shooting with this guy because it's got that single action only trigger and hammer. There isn't any blowback operation or even working slide. And there's not even an ejection port on the slide. So maybe you could paint one on there, I don't know. And on the right side of the slide, it has those rather noticeable assembly screws. All right, again, this gun is available in our Canada and US Replica Airgun store over at replicaairguns.ca and replicaairguns.us, links in the description. And if you're interested in other products like air guns, BB guns, pellet guns, airsoft guns, blank guns, and other accessories, then again, check out replicaairguns.ca for Canada and replicaairguns.us for our US store. Stay posted for the follow-up field test shooting video. It'll be interesting to see how this gun performs. Being that it has a single action only trigger, it should be pretty good in terms of feet per second and accuracy. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure to subscribe. Also check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Username is Replica Airguns. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.